you wouldn't think a book about making your bed would be life-changing, right?
Right.
But this Admiral McRaven, he was a Navy SEAL,
Yeah.
and he wrote this book, Make Your Bed. And it's about these 10 life lessons, and it's trust me, this is way more than just tidying up your room.
Yeah, what's so interesting about this book is that he uses his experiences in the SEALs, which is such a specific and demanding world, to illuminate these like really universal truths.
Right.
It's about finding these little kernels of wisdom in these unexpected places.
Like, who knew there was so much philosophy behind hospital corners on your bed?
Totally, yeah.
But he says that nailing those small tasks, and he starts with your bed, that sets the tone for like your whole day.
Totally. It's not just about a tidy room, like, although that is a bonus.
Right.
It's really about building that discipline and that sense of order and starting right when you wake up.
Yeah.
And that can have like a ripple effect on everything else you do.
Yeah. And SEAL training like takes this to a whole other level.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
He talks about this like almost absurd attention to detail, like the pillow has to be perfectly aligned.
Wow.
And if your bed didn't pass inspection, well, get ready for the sugar cookie treatment.
Which I'm guessing is not as delightful as it sounds.
No.
Okay.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So this involved jumping into the ocean fully clothed and then rolling around in the sand until you were covered head to toe.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a harsh wake-up call.
Yeah, that's intense. But it sounds like, I mean, if we connect it back to McRaven's point, like highlighting the importance of those seemingly insignificant tasks.
Right, yeah.
That even in the smallest actions, there's an opportunity for, like, excellence.
Right. So, okay. So for those of us who aren't waking up in a SEAL barracks.
Yeah. What's our version?
What is our version of making the bed to start the day on the right foot?
Totally. I mean, it could be anything, right?
Yeah.
That gives you a sense of control and accomplishment. Maybe it is that, like, perfectly brewed cup of coffee or a quick workout.
Right. Or just even like taking 5 minutes to look over your to-do list or whatever.
Yes, exactly. It's like setting an intention, right?
Yeah.
For the day. And you're like, okay, I did that. Check. Now I can move on to the bigger things, right?
And that feeling of accomplishment, even from a small task, can like create a momentum for you to tackle bigger things.
Absolutely. And that leads perfectly into McRaven's point about teamwork.
Okay.
Because you need support to achieve those bigger goals, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he illustrates this through a pretty harrowing story.
Okay.
About a parachute accident he had during a routine training jump.
Yeah, talk about your day taking an unexpected turn. And he doesn't like shy away from the fear and vulnerability that he felt in that moment at all. And it really underscores like how important it is to have people you can rely on, especially when things go wrong.
And it's not just about having people to like literally tick you up after a fall, right?
Yeah.
Like we need support, guidance, encouragement, all of those things to reach our full potential, right?
Right.
He talks about how crucial the other SEALs were in helping him not only physically recover, but also regain his confidence.
It's interesting because he connects this to a really unique aspect of SEAL training called the circus.
Okay.
Now, this is not your friendly neighborhood clown show.
I was going to say, for the sounds of it, this is a circus I do not want to attend.
You got that right.
Okay.
So picture this. You're already completely drained from a full day of intense physical and mental training.
Yeah.
And then if you mess up, if you don't meet these ridiculously high standards, you get invited to the circus.
Okay, I'm scared. What did the circus involve?
Just a casual 2 extra hours of nonstop grueling exercises, calisthenics designed to push you to your absolute limit.
Wow.
And to make matters even better, you've got these seasoned instructors, these like battle-hardened veterans all up in your face the entire time.
Oh, God.
And let's just say they weren't exactly offering like words of encouragement.
Well, yeah. No thanks. I'll take a hard pass on that invitation. But it sounds like McRaven's saying there's like a method to this madness.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
It seems so counterintuitive, but he argues that this like relentless pursuit of perfection, even when it meant enduring the circus, it actually had this like surprising benefit. It wasn't about punishment. It was about pushing yourself beyond your limits, both physically and mentally.
So like building resilience.
Totally.
Like learning to kind of like embrace those failures.
Yeah.
Both opportunities for growth rather than being like, oh, I'm so scared of failing.
And not only that, it forced you to rely on your team. Like, you couldn't get through the circus alone.
Right. You need your buddies.
You needed your buddies to, like, help you push through the pain.
To give you that extra push.
To give you that extra push,
I love that. And speaking of, like, pushing through those tough moments, McRaven also highlights the importance of, like, not judging a book by its cover.
Okay.
Looking beyond appearances.
Right.
He has this whole thing about meeting a Medal of Honor recipient, Tommy Norris, and like initially misjudging him.
So easy to do.
Based on his appearance.
Yeah, we make those snap judgments all the time.
All the time, yeah, for sure.
And it's like, but as he learned, true strength can come in like the most unassuming packages.
And most unassuming packages, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think, like, oh, this person's a war hero.
Right.
Hey, they must look like, whatever.
Right, this like big...
Yeah, this big, strong, whatever.
And it's like, no, not necessarily.
Right, in a ways, yeah.
He drives this point home even further with this this story that really highlights kind of the unpredictable nature of life.
Okay.
It's about this guy, Lieutenant Martin. Everybody called him Mookie.
Okay.
And he was like at the top of his game.
Wow.
Incredible athlete, like just seal through and through. And then cycling accident, paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Yeah, and it's just like that reminder that like things can change.
Right.
Like that
in an instant.
Yeah.
Totally. And McRaven's not using this to be like, oh, life's unfair. Woe is me.
No, not at all.
Right.
He uses Moki's story as like this example of how even when we're facing these unimaginable hardships, we have a choice in how we respond.
That's so important.
And he talks about how Moki could have just given up and bitter, angry, but instead he chose this different path.
Right.
He went on, became a successful artist. He was a devoted father, and he even founded a triathlon.
Wow.
For disabled athletes.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it speaks to, I think, like the resilience of the human spirit. That we do have a choice.
Absolutely.
Even when life is just throwing these curveballs.
It shows that like strength isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about how we navigate those challenges.
Totally, yeah. How we find that courage to keep going, even when it's like, oh my gosh, what's next?
And this leads to another key theme in McRaven's book.
Okay.
Facing your fears head on.
Ooh, that's a big one. Yeah. How do we do that? And he like illustrates this through these really intense scenarios, right? Like swimming with sharks during SEAL training.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even imagine.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel right there.
Yeah.
But his point is that, like, courage isn't the absence of fear.
Right.
It's about feeling that fear, acknowledging it, and then choosing to act in spite of it.
Yeah, because often those things that scare us the most are the things that will like help us grow.
Totally. It's that like getting out of your comfort zone, even when every bone in your body is like, no, thank you.
It's so true.
And he connects that idea to confronting bullies.
Okay.
And he talks about the capture of Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
And how even as a prisoner,
Hussein
was still trying to use these like intimidation tactics.
Yeah, it makes you realize that bullies, whether they're dictators or,
Right, or like, me kid in school.
Right, they rely on fear.
Yeah, to have power.
Yeah, to maintain that power.
Exactly.
And that, like, standing up to them.
Yeah.
Not letting yourself be controlled by fear.
It's its own act of courage.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of, like, courage under pressure.
Okay.
McRaven talks about these darkest moments exercises.
Okay, this sounds ominous. What were those about?
So they were basically these brutal tests designed to push trainees to like their absolute breaking points.
Oh, wow.
Physically, mentally.
Yeah.
Imagine being completely exhausted, sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And then you have to like perform these complex tasks under extreme pressure.
Wow.
It's about simulating those really demanding situations you might face in combat.
Right.
And seeing how you respond.
Right, because that's when it really matters.
Exactly. Are you going to like crack under pressure?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, talk about intense. And he contrasts that with this other like more somber experience. The ramp ceremonies. Oh, yeah. For fallen soldiers.
Yeah, it's such a powerful.
It's so moving.
Moving ceremony.
Honoring the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the loss. But also that, like, finding the strength in that shared grief.
It's interesting because he talks about how these ceremonies, while being filled with such sadness, were also like strangely inspiring.
Inspiring, yeah, for sure.
Because they really highlighted the strength,
the resilience
of the human spirit.
Spirit, even when faced with this unimaginable loss.
It's about finding that like inner fortitude to keep going, even when it feels impossible. And it reminds me of that story he tells about General John Kelly comforting the families at Dover Air Force Base.
Oh my gosh, that one gets me every time.
Right, General Kelly.
Who, by the way, tragically lost his own son.
In combat. Yeah, and he just had this...
I know.
This way of connecting.
This incredible ability.
With these families,
to offer comfort and hope during these unimaginable times.
Yeah.
It's like... sometimes those greatest acts of strength and leadership come from the people who have experienced that profound personal loss.
It's so true. They understand it on a level that most of us like can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings us to what is probably like McRaven's most important lesson.
Okay.
The power of never giving up.
Of never giving up.
Never, ever giving up. And he illustrates this through like this powerful image of this bell that hung in the center of the SEAL training compound.
Right.
Ring the bell. You're out.
You're done.
No more grueling workouts. No more circuses. No more like pushing yourself to the brink. It was a constant temptation.
I bet. Especially when you're like cold and exhausted and everything hurts.
When every muscle in your body is screaming at you to just stop.
Yeah, just ring the bell.
And he argues that it's in those moments, those make or break moments, when you're tempted to ring the bell, that's when you see your true character.
That's when it really matters.
Do you give in to the fear?
To the discomfort,
Or do you like dig deep?
Find that strength.
And find a way to keep going. And he's not just talking about like these grand, heroic moments.
With those small, everyday...
He's talking about those everyday acts of perseverance.
Yeah, showing up even when you don't want to.
Even when no one's watching.
Exactly.
Even when it'd be easier to like just stay in bed.
100%.
Yeah.
And he tells this incredible story about meeting a young Army Ranger at a hospital in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
And this soldier had stepped on a mine.
Oh, gosh.
And lost both of his legs.
Wow.
And he was in immense pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, facing this future that was just so uncertain.
Right. Like, I can't even imagine.
It's like beyond comprehension, right? But he says, despite everything, this soldier was not giving up.
Wow.
Like, he was determined to get back to his unit.
Wow.
To serve his country, you know, however he could.
That's incredible.
It's awe-inspiring, right?
It really is.
And it kind of speaks to that, like, core message, right?
It does, yeah.
That even those small acts of discipline, of courage, of resilience, it's like they have this ripple effect.
They do, yeah.
Not just in our own lives, but like in the world around us.
It's about recognizing that we all have that potential.
Right. We all have that potential.
We have that potential for like...
For greatness. For
greatness.
Yeah.
And sometimes all it takes is like that one small decision.
Right. To keep going.
To not ring the bell.
Yeah, to not ring the bell. To push forward, even when it's hard, even when we're afraid,
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Admiral McRaven's Make Your Bed, I have one question for you.
Okay.
What's your bell?
What's your bell? Yeah.
What's that thing you're facing right now where you're just like tempted to
give in?
To just give in. And how can you apply these lessons? Like the power of small wins, teamwork, courage to face your fears.
Absolutely.
To overcome that. How can you choose to be your best self?
How can you choose to be your best self? I love that. Until next time, everyone.
Until next time.